Call of Duty Warzone 2 is a fun and potentially even addicting game, even with its serious issues. This battle royale has some of the highest highs and lowest lows you'll get from gaming. I'm currently the max level of 250, I've gotten double-digit wins, completed the battle pass, and have a ton of playtime, so hopefully I can properly review the game for you guys. Let's start with what I like about the game. First of all, there's a new map. It's just a new game. It feels fresh. It's exciting. It's great to jump back in with a party, dive in there, explore the map, explore the new contracts, explore the new POIs, have a new party with your boys just vibing. That feeling is back of just that freshness and excitement, and you love that. And I've really been enjoying that aspect of it over the last week and a half or so. The battle pass is new and different, which is a nice change. In between games, it's fun just to use your tokens to unlock new things, find new double XP. You get to pick the route that you choose. The map is solid, very solid. It is not as good as Verdansk in my opinion, but it is far better than Caldera. At the end of the day, everyone's gonna have different opinions on the map. Caldera was an awful map in my opinion. All the POIs were on the outside of the map with Peak at the center, and it's just a bunch of hilly, naturey trees around Peak, an open area with hills. I did not like Caldera. Verdansk, obviously being an OG, I'm a little biased, as I'm sure most of you are, but what was great about Verdansk was that there was such a variety. You had in the bottom right of the map, nature, foresty areas. You had the downtown area. You had hospital where it's one big building surrounded by smaller buildings. You obviously had superstore where it's just one big building and everyone's inside fighting around there. There was storage town where it's a bunch of smaller symmetrical locations. Up in the northwest, you had dam. So that area was a little bit more open. Northeast, you had quarry. There was just a ton of variety in the locations. While Al Mazrah is a really good map and it's pretty balanced. There are some exciting features, like you have the observatory, you do have that high-rise downtown area, which is exciting. A lot of the map is just this like sandy, dusty, open feeling, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad map. It just doesn't have this variety that Verdansk feels. And the map does look good. It is a pretty looking map, but a lot of it to me just seems sandy and dusty, whereas Verdansk had a lot more variety in the physical attributes that some of the POIs had. At the end of the day though, that is still a pro. The game isn't suffering because the map has any negatives to it. And that is why the map is 100% a positive. It is a very solid map. Next thing I like about the game is that the guns feel solid. It's really rewarding to shoot them. It's really rewarding to get a kill. There's a variety of usable guns that are also fun. And this is big. You don't want there just to be necessarily one meta weapon like there was in Warzone 1. With Warzone 2 right now, you can have a lot of fun with a variety of weapons. There are definitely some guns that are better than others, but you can be successful, and ultimately the guns are satisfying, but we also are not surprised by that. That's something that we got from Modern Warfare 2. We had that excitement from playing the multiplayer and expected that. It's a modern game. The game feels modern. Warzone 2 feels modern. You're shooting weapons that feel modern, which is good. I want to be shooting weapons from now or from the future as opposed to weapons from hundreds of years. Proximity chat is a W. Proximity chat is really making the game what it is right now. It makes the game new. It makes it feel fresh. It's really funny just to hear other people's reactions. You can talk smack. You can use it to your advantage strategically based on where people are calling out. If you're the one in prox chat and you're the one talking in game chat, you can throw your enemies off by making fake call outs. There's death comms, which again is always fun. So that creates a lot of good content. Someone can log on and have fun with prox chat, even if they're awful at the game. You can do new things. You don't even have to be fighting. You can go a whole game and have a great time by just doing silly things in prox chat. And I think that is an awesome feature that I'm really glad that they added. And I hope other games follow suit and do the same thing. Winning a game of Warzone 2 is very satisfying. Part of this comes from the difficult rotations, the newness of the game. Everyone's trying to get wins. Some of this comes from the deeper backpacks. People can just stack all sorts of crazy equipment and kill streaks. But at the end of the day, winning a game is satisfying, and that is very important in a battle royale, and that's something they got right. The other part that I like about this game is the camos. The camos look cool in Warzone 2. To go into a BR and have your gold camo, platinum, Orion, whatever it may be. There are also some other ones that aren't even that rare, sort of quote unquote, like a gold is rare, even though it's not that hard to actually get. There are other camos like Magma Digital comes to mind where they're cool, they're colorful, they're fun to rock in the game. You can see your squad's weapons, you can pick up other people's weapons that have cool camos. I like that aspect of Warzone 2. On the guns front, none of the guns are broken, which is awesome. The Fennec and some of these pistols close range are ridiculous and could certainly use a nerf, but nothing is broken like shotguns or the DMR, for example, were in Warzone 1, and I think that's a positive. Hopefully it stays that way. I'm enjoying that there's nothing ridiculous right now where you're just like, geez, why is this even in the game? Another funny one, and this is the last one, you can climb rocks in this game. How crazy is that? They did it. They figured out rock climbing mechanics. Congratulations, you can climb rocks. Let's go. Honestly, all joking aside, it is a nice feature that you can go ahead and climb, and there are a lot of situations where mantling, you can mantle objects that maybe you previously wouldn't be able to. So that is a plus. Now let's go ahead and touch on areas that the game needs to improve. The TTK is too fast. We need to revert it back to Warzone 1 level of health. You're dying too quickly. And why can't everyone just have 3 plates? Why are there 2 versus 3 plate options? I don't necessarily understand that, because early game, I'll land on a 2 plate and someone else lands on a 3 plate. It's pretty difficult to outgun that someone with a whole extra plate. And it's really just RNG at that point, because you can't add the extra plate. It's just looting pool. Whereas in Warzone 1, if you just looted for plates, which is a little bit less RNG, you just got to run around and eventually you'll find plates. You can get to full plates, which I don't necessarily like that feature. The game plays slow. Mantling, using equipment, reloading, throwing tacticals, lethals, all of that feels slow. It feels heavy. You're taking forever to do any sort of action, and that can be frustrating because it does limit the outplay potential in just a more normal gunning 1v2 type situation. There is still definitely a skill gap. Rotation, positioning, recoil control, knowing the map, knowing the backpack, knowing the looting system, for sure. But just how slow it is seems a little unnecessary. I'm fine with slowing it down a little bit, but it's just too slow in my opinion. Also on the note is, if your shield gets broken, you're done. You're in trouble. It's so difficult to get out of that. And that comes down to the whole sprinting while plating. Ultimately, I don't have a huge problem with not being able to plate while sprinting. Just like in Apex, right? You can't really sprint or move around too much while you're healing. There are movement mechanics, so if you're like up in the air, you can hit a battery while healing. So there is that. I don't necessarily have a huge problem because you can still move while plating. I don't think it's great. I think it is helpful because if you crack someone, it goes both ways, obviously. It's harder for you if you get cracked to outplay someone and get away. If you do that, you can push them. And so that gives it a more classic BR feel, which I think if they sped up some of the other equipment usage, that sort of thing, you could still outplay someone without needing to sprint away with plating, because you could stun them or use your equipment to do something to give you some sort of chance, some sort of opportunity to outplay them once you get cracked. Next question is, do the perks really work? They seem glitchy and questionable. I'm using the commando perk package right now, and sometimes I'm getting quick fix when I have high alert on. That seems a little odd. I know fast hands is working. Perk system just seems a little strange, glitchy. I'm not always sure that they're working. There's no rank system. This is a major problem, and I actually made a whole separate video that it's linked in the description. So go check that out if you want to hear me chat through the rank system. For now, we're going to focus on the review as more of a pubs type of game. And in this sort of pubs game where it's just casual, you're just playing for fun, there's no rewards or anything in terms of a rank, cash is a little bit too hard to find, which makes regaining really difficult. For a ranked mode, that's fine, but for pubs where people are just trying to play for fun, what's the big negative of being able to regain? You might as well just back out if 2 of your 4 squad members die halfway through the game, because regaining is pretty difficult. Again, it does make it feel like a more classic BR. I think they could just make it a little bit more cash, add in a few more buy stations, and you could be good. On that note, with the buy stations, they are not enough of them. They are hard to use. Why is there only 1 UAV? They need to add more buy stations. You need to be able to click the buy station anywhere around it, not just directly in front, staring at it for 1 hour. And then there needs to be more UAVs. The other piece that I think needs improvement is the whole circle situation. I do like the innovation and what they're getting at with the whole, hey, let's go ahead and change up the circle system where there's multiple circles and you have to go into one circle. I'm actually okay with that. But in practice, what actually happens is the circle ends up just ending in the middle of the 2 or 3 circles every time, which makes sense because you don't want people from one circle going all the way to the other circle. But then you're just ending the game in the middle more often because it has to end in the middle of those circles, which means more than half of the games that I play are ending around observatory. I like observatory. The actual observatory POI is great, but all the hills and mountains around it, I don't want to end every game there because there's usually just one crazy power position. I do enjoy the occasional endgame there, but I want diversity. I want to be playing some endgames in each corner of the map, in each strange POI. So they need to fix the circle system somehow where either they get rid of that, it doesn't always end in the middle, some sort of variety, or it just pulls to one area more often. Obviously, that creates some scenarios where you're having to sprint from one side of the map to the other, which is frustrating, but to not have end games in all of the POIs, that is a little odd, and I can't say that I like that feature. Let's talk about the audio. The audio is awful. Horrible. The worst part about it is that it's inconsistent more than anything else. If you have bad audio, at least you can know that and predict that and use that and understand that, but it's inconsistent. Sometimes I'll hear footsteps pretty clearly in a building, and other times I'll hear nothing, and there doesn't feel like there's any real connection or reason or rhyme to why audio is bad in some places and works okay in other places. I think the worst examples that I'm seeing it on is with climbing up ladders. I will be on a roof where the only way to get to the roof is obviously fly from some crazy height, but you could hear the parachute. The only real way is to climb up a ladder, and I will be super close to the ladder looking the other direction, and some guy will climb up the ladder and shoot me in the back from right behind me. How are you not hearing someone climb a ladder? That is just crazy. That is like the most frustrating, and that is when I said at the lowest of lows. That is one example of a low when you die like that. It's just like, that needs to be fixed. Audio needs to be improved. I don't need to hear crazy footsteps across the map and know exactly whether they are, but I need to hear them if they're climbing up a ladder behind me. That's just crazy. Another example of a low and something that they need to fix are bomb drones. Bomb drones are OP. I said no weapons are currently OP. Bomb drones are OP. I get it. They put it in the game so noobs can get a kill, and they're fun. I have fun driving them too, but they can't be one-hit kills. It just creates RNG. There's no skill. They're pretty hard to shoot. Yes, there's a call out, but by the time they get close enough to you, they can already explode and probably blow you up and one hit you. So they're a one hit, which is just, they're too powerful. They need a slight nerf. Make them drive slower, make the blow up radius smaller, make them not a one hit kill. There are definitely a bunch of options that can go ahead and fix those bomb drones. The gulag. The gulag is an interesting one. At first, I hated it. I thought it was a joke because you could get a bad teammate and you're just screwed. It's growing on me a little bit more. I'm enjoying it a little bit more. I think there is actually a skill gap. You can 1v2. If your teammate is AFK even, it's still winnable. You can still 1v2 if you're a good player. It does create some sense of fun when you get your teammate in there and you have to 2v2 with your teammate that you just died with. Or you get a random that you team up with, or you get the other team, they want to team up and not kill each other and just get out of there together. So I like all that, and it is growing on me. It's just still a little odd that you have a 2v2 with a random person. If it was like, if there was some system where it was always with your teammate, and that wouldn't really make sense, but that would be okay because you're playing as a team. But to get paired with a random person just creates more RNG, and I think ultimately you want to reduce RNG where you can. So it is growing on me. I do like features of it. We'll give it some more time and see where that goes. And I do feel similarly about the backpack and the looting system, actually. At first, I did not like the backpack system. It is growing on me. I do like that you can strategically allocate what you want to carry. You coordinate with your team, or you try to have one person have an ammo box, another person have an armor box, kill streaks. I do enjoy that, but I think the looting needs improvement. There's so often where there's loot on the ground, I just can't pick it up. My gun is on the ground, I can't pick it up. And then sometimes I won't auto pick up ammo where it's like I'm using that gun, the ammo in my gun isn't full, and I just need to be like auto picking up on that. So I think if they can just tweak a couple of the looting situations, then the backpack system will overall be much more appreciated than it currently is, because you won't have some of those frustrations and people will be like, okay, this is cool. I can add stuff to my backpack. You can play a little bit more strategic. One thing I don't like though is that there are way too many precision airstrikes, clusters. We'll have 10 of them on a team of 4. We'll go and we'll be fighting a team and they'll 4 times they'll airstrike us. It's just like, it's just too much. Just nerf the amount of those a little bit and that would be good. The gas mask animation, not fixed. Still a pain in the ass. I had a funny clip that I posted recently about that. Fix the gas mask animation. What are we doing? Last but not least, we have some bugs. These were a lot worse at the launch of the game. The first couple days, they have been improved. There are a couple bugs where you can't buy people back. You get auto killed when you get knocked. The game crashes, difficult to get into a party, wins not counting. So there are some bugs that have already seen improvement. Ultimately, this game is fun. The base game is well made. The map is good. The weapons feel good, which are really the most important factors to a battle royale. So the game has a ton of potential. I think we can get some tweaks. We can get some extra ears listening to the community, making changes. This game has a ton of potential. There are a lot of very frustrating issues, but ultimately I am having a ton of fun. That feel to get into a game with your squad on the mic, shooting the shit, gunning down enemies, getting a win, celebrating. There are some really fun moments that make this game great. And I do feel that they got it right in terms of how different it is to Warzone 1. It's different enough where it does feel new. It's not just a copy paste, but it is similar enough where there are a lot of the similar vibes. You do get the same nostalgia feeling. However, they do need to revert a couple things, but ultimately I think they did a good job making it similar but different and not too much one way or the other. If you enjoyed the video, guys, go ahead, comment, subscribe. Let me hear it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you think. More videos to come. What would you guys want to see? Peace out, baby.